Pumpkin. Hi, Pumpkin. How you doing? Rare sighting. You're not hiding for a change. Up and about. That's probably loud. I'm sorry. Oh, what? Excuse you. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. He's never taken food off the counter before. I don't know why, because he knows he can get up there, but you're so good. You're such a good turbo. Hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm great. It's a beautiful day, kind of sticky, but still, it's not 95 degrees outside, so that's a win. I have a beautiful new plant here. This was gifted to me by a friend. Well, by Bay. If they watch this, they'd be like, friend, what? They got this from Menards. Sent me a picture and said, you want this? I was like, I don't know how much. This is $16.99. $16.99. What a great price. I remember it was just January of this year. It's August 2025. I don't know when you're watching this. Bulk of y'all are watching it in August, probably. But you know, there's always some people who like to rewatch the old things. These were like $1.99 for ones about this size, just in January. And then I picked some up for, I think they were $39.99. They were very tiny. I didn't like the growth habit on them. They got to maybe half this size and didn't have much variegation. I said, nah, these are duds. I gave them away. And for $16.99, got this beautiful gem of a plant here. It's got a nice size stem on it. Look at that. Nice and... oh, you can't even see it. Down there. Look. See that? Nice and thick. Would you not... don't tear up the furniture, please? Oh. It's awfully agile. She tends to be one that falls over a lot. You're a clumsy kitten. Yes, you are. Stinky kitten. She made a BM this morning that woke up the entire house. It smelled like an electrical fire. What's that about? Maybe the probiotic that goes into her food. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to get this repotted. And, well, that's it. Just a hanging repot, really. It's like, need to do some pruning on this guy, too. I put zero thought into this. I was just looking at it in the window saying, oh, well, that's something I should probably handle. Let me get out the camera. We should do it on camera. Don't know if that was the wisest decision. Because like I said, I put zero thought into this. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find a pot that I like for it. I'm sure that I will. Let's get this umbrella position so this guy's not sitting in the direct sun like that. Oh, the sun's in a tricky spot today. Huh? Yeah, that's pretty good. Just give it a shift over in this direction. Alright, that's better. I need to turn the sprinklers on. I don't know if this is a vlog. This isn't going to be a how to repot a philodendron thing. I'm just doing some gardening stuff and thought I'd pick up the camera and bring everybody along. Things have been pretty dry over here lately. We did get some rain yesterday. It's a Japanese maple. Oh, look at it. Yeah. It got pretty dry. I was leaving the hose on a trickle on it the other day to help it. And then I filmed a video talking about how we haven't had any rain and it's been frustrating. But right after I said all that, we did get some rain. A lot of it. So that's good. I don't think that's going to be big enough. No. Oh, it's a bucket. I need the bucket. Oh, what about this? That's a nice looking pot. I have this blue grandma grass sitting in it. That might look good with the philodendron coming out the top. Although, it's kind of porous in there. I get hesitant with that with aeroids because they like to stick their roots to the sides of the containers. Aeroids, orchids. Doesn't usually work out for me the way I would like it to when it comes time to repot. I need to water that one. Pop into the garage, see what I can find. Container and potting mix. What? I forgot that I just got a potting mix delivery too, so that's convenient. Oh, getting low on the aeroid mix. That's okay. I don't use that much of this stuff anymore. Because I don't know, I haven't had to repot my aeroids in quite a while. Yeah, that's a cute pot. Use this one. Oh, there's a couple coconut palms in here that I've forgotten to talk about. They're dead. You couldn't tell. They're not alive anymore. When I was moving plants outside this past, I don't know, spring. I want to say it was spring when I was moving the tropicals out. Obviously it was. Yeah, I didn't move them out in the summer. They were already out here. There were 4 or maybe 5 coconut palms on that table. And those 2 that were over there had some very strange orange and yellow spotting on them. And I was just like, I don't know about this. I was a little bit concerned about some infections. I treated them for a while. and it didn't really do anything, and then it got hot and I forgot about them. I wasn't going to keep them anyways though, because they had something going on that I didn't want around the other palm trees. That'll work. Little dinging noise you keep hearing is my security system letting me know that I'm in the driveway. Because thanks to the YouTube and a few people out there who just don't really understand some social norms and respect, I now have sensors and cameras everywhere. Everywhere. So my phone's always beeping anytime I'm walking around my yard. That's okay. Part of it. Never a bad thing to have extra security around the house. So what I have here is a blend that's probably maybe going to trigger some people, but just, you know, fasten up because I'm doing it anyways. This is potting mix. Proven winners, big sun grow potting mix essentially. And you already know there are a couple scoops of some aeroid soil down at the bottom, and then I grabbed some more just because that particular bag seems to be water retentive, more water retentive than normal. It wasn't light and fluffy. It was somewhat compact, and that can be risky with these guys, right? They need to drain well. We don't want these to rot. Okay, so idea here is going to have some good moisture retention and good aeration. It's a nice combo to have. A combo that I get more concerned with is something like an anthurium over a philodendron, but yeah, there are a lot of factors that come into play here, right? So for me, something I keep in mind, it's not repotting it necessarily for right now. It's having a combination of what's going to work for right now and when this plant is inside. I'm going to have it outside until it cools off and it has to go in the grow space, into the garage, or back into the house, wherever I end up putting it. There are options there, but things dry out a lot faster in the grow space than they do outside. So I kind of just like to play in the middle with the blend. Try and come up with something every single time. I don't follow any type of exact ratio. I just start easy with the chunky stuff. The chunky stuff is in there to allow oxygen in there to help keep things loose so that air can flow, hence the oxygen part. Water flow around the roots, and then have that good moisture retention from that soil so the plant can drink and have aeration, all that good stuff at the same time. Yeah, that's pretty good. Roughly 50-50. The reason I said that this could be triggering for some people is because I know that a lot of the aeroid fanatics will say, only ever put these in an aeroid mix. That just doesn't work for me. We all have different ways we have to grow things, and the winter air is so dry that when I have a philodendron just in straight up aeroid mix, I have to water them just nonstop. There's too much fluctuation between dry and moist and dry and moist. They always do better for me if I go about 50-50, or, you know, I can even go lower than that and just, you know, have like a couple handfuls of some soil in there. With most, not all, but with a lot, I should say a lot, not most, with a lot of philodendrons, it's okay. It just depends on what you're working with, right? These ring of fires, it'll be okay. There are things you can do if you're in a situation like me. I could just really up the amount of sphagnum moss inside my aeroid blend. That would help retain some moisture, but I don't like how long it takes to rehydrate sphagnum moss when it dries out, and I just don't think it offers a good amount of stability in the container sometimes. It just drives me crazy. Things dry up and they go like that. Do you know what I mean? Just it just squinches up together, and it's hard to get it to just relax again and fill out the pot. When they do that, when they go like that, things become all wobbly and floppy inside the container. It's annoying. I'm not doing it anymore, and this is what I've been doing since last year for a lot of my plants. Not all of them, but for a lot of my aeroids. I've just been doing about a 50-50 blend, and it's been fine. Totally fine. But I'm not growing anything like crazy out of this world either with my philodendrons, right? I don't have anything super rare or exotic or specialized. It's all your run-of-the-mill, ooh, look at that pretty plant I saw on Instagram and now it's in the store kind of, you know, I don't know, hype aeroids. The once rare, but now common plants. You know what I mean. That's in a potting mix, right? It's got some chunk in it, kinda. Not really. Just goes back to your climate and how you're taking care of your plants. I know there's a trend on the YouTube for a while, people saying, oh, I rescued this plant, which I suppose maybe a lot of the Monstera they were, being sold, still are being sold to the big box stores and just straight up coconut or peat. And then that can come across to people as just a terrible way to grow them because they'll just rot. And that's only true if you're overwatering your plants. The multi-million to billion-dollar industries, not just growing things out in a media that's going to kill them. But they're going to do what works best for their growing, not necessarily what's best for you at home, right? So that's what you got to keep in mind here. So this, for me, I think I would be fine with this because the air in my house is incredibly dry. And it's hard to keep things hydrated during the winter time. But just to be safe, I add in a good amount of chunk. Well, the soil's not muddy. Got a good amount of sand in it. It is pretty moist though. So yeah, I could see there being some problems with this if somebody wasn't paying attention to how it's being watered. And that can be a difficult thing to do, especially at these big box stores. It's kind of asking, well, I don't actually think it is asking a lot of the employees, but to just expect everybody to know exactly how to water every plant, that's maybe a big ask. I don't know. That's a debatable thing. It just depends, Everybody's different with how they can get people into the stores and who knows what when they're working. That should be good. I like this. This pot, though, it's the same as the other one that I was talking about. The inside's not glazed, so it's going to be a nightmare getting this thing out of it. But I liked the container, so I said, oh, screw it. We'll just put it in here anyway. And there are other options, too, right? So if you're in a situation similar to mine where you have aeroids, but the aeroid mix is just drying out way too fast, you can top dress the container with some sphagnum moss and try and make sure that stays damp. Top dress with gravel, that helps hold some moisture, and basically just capping the soil. That helps a lot. I do have some gravel here. That's to put underneath the lavender because this lavender's laying on top of that soil, and I need to keep that soil more moist than the lavender. The wood on the lavender would prefer, so I need some separation there so the plant doesn't rot. With this, since I'm using a soil blend, I don't think I need to put any kind of cap on this. It should be good just the way it is, I would think. And then I didn't use a container that was, well, no, I did. I used a tall container, but I did not fill it up all the way. The plant's still down maybe a couple inches inside the rim of that container, just because these don't need a deep root system necessarily, right? So the more area that's down there, there's just the more area for moisture to collect and potentially cause problems with root rot. I'd be interested to know from you all, from everybody who's watching these videos, how do you have to do things with your aeroids? Like, I'm sure if you live in a climate that's much, much, much more humid, then an aeroid mix is probably the only way you could go, because if you did something like this, maybe your plants would just rot and die really, really quickly. Whereas where I am, I'm smack dab in the middle of the country. Summers are very humid, which is fine because the plants are outside and there's good warmth, so they're moving, they're growing, they can handle it. I have chunky stuff in there. This is how I've been doing this with the aeroids for the last year, and it's working well. But like I said, in the winter, air is bone dry. Even with all the humidifiers and everything, it's just hard to get the humidity to keep the aeroids happy without doing a lot of extra work, like making sure that you're top dressing with damp sphagnum moss, for example. This is just what works for me. Not by any means saying it's the right way to do things, it's just a way to do things. That's all. And what a beautiful plant. $16.99. Great deal. It has a great color on it. Nice variegation. There's hardly any blemishes on the foliage, and there's a few little things, which is just to be expected. I always expect there to be some stuff on my leaves. I'm not one who gets bothered by the occasional brown tip or snapped leaf, like this back here. I could cut that off, but I'll probably leave it for now. Plant's been through enough. It can just hang out, do its thing, keep it in the shade. I'll let it get some morning filtered light. This means filtered in my head. I don't know why. It's because when you see the sun shining through trees or palm fronds, it's always like a twinkle of light that comes through. So filtered, a little dappled. That's probably the word, dappled light. And we'll water it in with a diluted rooting hormone just because of habit. And that's just how I do things. Probably not necessary with the philodendron, but I already have some mixed up for some other things that I just got planted. So may as well skip this little sip of that too. I have a bad habit of waiting too long to repot my aeroids, and that's why I tried to get on top of this. This was gifted to me last night. It was just last night, that I got this. Now, just get on top of it and just handle it right away. You go back and forth on that. Sometimes it's good to go ahead and give plants some time to rest when you bring them home, but I just know myself, my growing habits, and that if I do want this inside in that window, I thought it looked nice in there in the kitchen. Didn't it look good? I thought it looked good there. especially if it weren't sitting on top of a crock and actually placed some where it made some sense, that it's just going to need something that can retain some more moisture because the air is more dry in the home. Yeah, I love it. What a beautiful plant. I'm going to try and get this as much light as I can without scorching the leaves. That'll help bring out a lot of color and keep the growth more stout. I don't want this guy stretching. That's the thing with gardening, is there really aren't just plain and simple ways to do things all the time. Things aren't always black and white. Things often are not black and white. That's why I don't talk about watering that often. It's very difficult to tell somebody how often to water a plant because there's so many factors that go into it. That's the same thing here with these aeroids. This is going to work just fine for me, but I know there are plenty of you, particularly those who live further south, where this would just be the kiss of death for your aeroid if you were to do this. I have an Anthurium veitchii, had an Anthurium veitchii, that was just on the struggle bus for maybe a good year and a half. Because I just couldn't keep the thing watered. And then I would overwater it because I would soak it because I couldn't get it hydrated. And the plant just was not doing well. And I said, screw it. Screw it. This isn't working for me. I did a 50-50 blend potting mix to aeroid mix. Plant grew flawlessly after that and ended up giving it away. I have a bad habit. It's not a bad habit. I think it's a good habit. When I have people over, if they really like the plant, then usually I just say, okay, well, you can have it. Just take it. If you like it that much, you can have it. No big deal. And it's partially because the YouTube thingy, I come upon plants a lot. So if you really like something, with unless it's something really big and massive that I have an attachment to, like my big Thai Monstera, you can take it. So hopefully the plant was still doing well for them with that kind of blend. I don't know. But it just, like I said, it just depends on how you're growing things. Remember, I keep things in a grow space during the winter time with an electric heater, and that heater just dries the air out. I have a big pond in there. Big. It's not really a pond either, but, there's a big thing of water in there that stays moderately warm with a waterfall, and that does help with the humidity some. But it's going up against a 10,000 watt heater. When that heater's running just full blast, which is generally around January when it's 15 degrees Fahrenheit outdoors, there's just not much I can do for the humidity. I have humidifiers and I've tried all kinds of things. I've just come to a point where I'm like, you know what, if it's a plant that needs a ton of humidity, I think it's just not for me. It just makes life easier to just don't grow those plants, right? Or find different ways to grow them. So this is what I've been doing. And it's been working really well so far, for the most part. There was what was it? It wasn't my Gloriosum. I do know I had one aeroid that I'm pretty sure rotted out. And it was a blend similar to this. I was overwatering it, so I wasn't paying attention. That's the problem. So no matter what you're doing, you got to really pay attention to how you're watering these things. Ow, this is my queen. The Warocyanums, yeah, killed plenty of those. They're just diva plants. I can't move them, which is why I don't grow them anymore, because I like to be able to take my plants from indoors to outdoors during the summer. I bring them outside in the summer, and they just throw a fit and defoliate, and then you wait 3 months for them to open up one more leaf. Then maybe they have 2 by the time you move them back inside. And then I move them inside and they're like, oh my god, you moved me. And they drop their leaves again. Too much water, drop a leaf. Not enough water, drop a... No. I don't have time for all that. If I had like one of those IKEA cabinets or something with all the humidity, maybe, but it just doesn't fit with how I do things. This sort of philodendron, no problem. It'll be fine. They always do really well in a blend like this for me. I feel like I've said that more than enough. Hey, thanks for hanging out. That's all. Just, repotting. Talking, enjoying the nice weather. The fan at moments may have been loud. I don't know. I try and keep my hand around the microphone so that it's not too obnoxious, but it's still that time of year where it's warm enough that if I don't have a fan going, it's really hard to film because the camera overheats like every 30 to 45 seconds, something like that. Comment down below, what are some of the things that you have to do with your plants to make them work for you, your aeroid blends that you like to do. For me, I've been lately just been buying the premix newt mix, which I know is very lazy, but it's just what I do. And I add chunky perlite. I added a full cup of chunky perlite into this in addition to that aeroid blend. I should have mentioned that. Sorry. That's probably important. There's a full big scoop, which measures out to about a cup of chunky perlite added into the mix that already has perlite in it, with the 3 or 4 scoops of that aeroid mix that's in there. I eyeball it, so it doesn't really... I can't get that specific. It doesn't even matter if I'm not measuring it, right? Oh, but it helps give an idea. All right. Hope everybody's doing well. Having a great day, a great life, and everything's just going absolutely beautifully for you. And of course, as always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye. Bye.